Hello, everyone, and welcome to Working In with Heights, potentially the only series dedicated to exercising your brain as well as your body. So, we believe a healthy brain is the key to a healthy, happy life. So, we created this idea of a cranium gymnasium to help people take the time to nourish their brains as well as their bodies. Heights is all about brain health and mental wellness. We make smart, sustainable supplements that combine the essential oils and nutrients your body and your brain need, and we deliver them to your doorstep every month. And then we create clever content in collaboration with leading experts like tonight to help you optimize your brain health and performance too, so you can reach your heights, whatever they might be. That's all from me. Time to introduce today's mental fitness instructor, Rhiannon Lambert. So firstly, welcome, Rhi.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm a registered nutritionist. I have a first-class degree in nutrition and health, a master's degree in obesity risks and prevention, and I'm a master practitioner working with eating disorders and different relationships with food, so disordered eating behaviors. It tends to flow, the kind of work I do as a registered nutritionist, as I am bound by a code of conduct and ethics. So I am governing body bound, meaning everything I say will be grounded in science. And I'm extremely passionate about making science, especially nutrition, evidence-based nutrition, accessible to many people, which is where my platforms, Readdressing on social media, came from, my books, Renourish. And I kind of have a very different journey into nutrition. I used to be a singer, I'm now a nutritionist. And my philosophy is pretty much building healthy relationships with food, because everybody has a story and journey, which we'll discuss today. And it's something on my podcast, Food for Thought, which I host. We discuss a lot of different science topics. I'm very lucky I get to interview, like yourself, you get to interview lots of really cool, amazing, intelligent guests, and you kind of learn so much every time. So a little bit about me, I guess I'm passionate about those things, and I have a multitude of books and platforms and social media stuff going on alongside my clinic, where I run a team of health professionals, and we work on many different aspects: sports nutrition, gut health, intuitive eating, eating disorders, pre and postnatal, weight management, you name it, we've got someone in the clinic that can help.
What do you think are some of the most common misconceptions people have about food and how to relate to them psychologically?
I think the biggest misconceptions would be carbohydrates, psychologically. Yeah, I could see you smile there when I said that, because I think everybody has a thing, or it's ingrained in them that having a pizza is really bad. It's, it's a treat night, therefore a treat must be bad for you because it's a treat, right? So the mindset and the rule we've got is anything that we enjoy is bad for us, which is not true at all. If you break it down, the psychology, a pizza is a balanced meal, depending how it's made. I'm going to add, might not be a famous high street chain one, but something that's a bit more traditional. Your base is carbohydrate. Your toppings would be vegetables. Your protein would be whatever protein you add, or the cheese that you have on your pizza. If it's a vegan pizza, you can have vegan cheese, or you can add pulses. And that's actually with a drizzle of olive oil, if it's cooked that way with minimal salt, could be a very, very balanced meal. So it's definitely reframing how you see food, how you choose to see food. If you look at pizza as it's going to really satisfy me, give me one of my 5 a day, that's really different, right? To, oh, I'm going to have a pizza and I'm going to feel really bad afterwards, and I'm going to really punish myself for it afterwards.
You've just made my wife's night 100%. I can just tell that she's in another room and can't wait to tell me about the 5 nights a week she's now going to be eating pizza.
Right. Well, I'm going to add a caveat to that and say it's the type of pizza you consume. Why don't you get making them at home? Get a pita.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, to be fair, that's what we do. It's actually quite fun and very easy.
Yeah,
And
it's a good family one as well.
Hack for everyone is to use a tortilla as a base, and then you don't even have to make the dough. So easy.
There you go.
Like, a lot of people love food, but struggle with that second part, right? Which is feeling guilt-free. So how do you suggest that people approach eating guilt-free if they've always felt that way?
Address the rules in your head, write them down. I cannot express to you enough how, when you realize how you talk to yourself internally, it is huge. If you leave the house every morning, this is an example, you look in the mirror, do you ever say, wow, well, some of you might, I look great today? I mean, I don't think we talk to ourselves in the right way. And the same goes for when we're at the dinner table. We do not talk internally in our heads and say, this is a very satisfying meal. Look at all the wonderful nutrients I'm eating. I'm getting loads of vitamins. I'm eating a rainbow. This is great. We rarely feel like that. So it's unbreaking the diet rules that we've built up. And this actually is a process called intuitive eating. We actually have someone in our clinic who does that, only works on intuitive eating. It's such a big area. So saying no to the diet police, we say, that's very useful. If you hear that voice in your head saying, oh, I can't eat that right now, then get the rational one in and have a think about it. And what would your response be? If it were a friend saying that to you, what would you say to your friend? Surely you wouldn't be nasty to your friend. You would say something kind and reassuring. So it's gradually building it up. Address it, take it out of your head, put it on paper can really help.
It's so complicated though, right? Because presumably there are actually lots of benefits of that guilty feeling too. In the same way as stress can actually can actually be good for you. Of course, going the other way and never feeling guilty about what you eat can lead to you overeating, getting ill health, and therefore all the negatives that come with that. So, in some respect, you've got to say that guilt is a healthy psychological function too, no? Or is there a different way to analyze where the balance is?
I like that. I'm going to rephrase it. And instead of using the word guilt, just acknowledgement. I think acknowledging rather than the feeling. You don't need to put the emotion to it because that's just not a pleasant emotion. Guilt is a terrible emotion to feel. So instead of feeling the emotion, just acknowledge the situation. Okay, so I had an indulgence tonight. That was fun, but I know for my health or for how I feel in my body right now, that's probably not going to be how I'm going to do tomorrow. Tomorrow I might walk a bit more. Tomorrow I might start the day with some super healthy porridge for breakfast and know that I'm on a roll and I'm going to call a friend. And it is being responsible for your own lifestyle and your own health behaviors. Sometimes you need someone else to hold you accountable. And I would say having someone you can talk to, a friend, even about food or about getting out for a walk. God, having the motivation. I mean, I'm a new mum and I know how hard it is to leave the house. So if I don't make a plan with someone I'm going to call on my walk, I mean, sometimes I just wouldn't leave.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess one of the hardest things realistically for humans to do anyway is to unlearn, especially unlearning a bad habit, right? So if feeling guilty about eating is a bad habit, then how would you suggest that we do it guilt-free and unlearn that habit? Do you have any tactics for that?
Yes. Okay, first of all, let's get rid of the word guilt-free. I just want to, it's not guilt-free. It's just your normal way of looking at food and at life. So you have to unpick those demons. Like we said before, you have to start questioning them. You have to fight back. That's the only way you're ever going to unlearn something psychologically. And I'm not a psychologist. I'm a nutritionist that's done a bit of training in the psychology field. So if it's something that's really tough to break, definitely seek some professional help for that because that's so important. But it is unpicking that voice in your head, on your shoulder, your inner critic. That is the only way. If you don't start arguing, you're never going to climb over the hill. You've got to get up there first and really get to the bottom of why you're talking to yourself in that way.
Okay, so what are your top 3 tips for eating and loving food and doing it, last time we'll say it, guilt-free?
I know, there you go. Well, I think guilt-free is something everyone can understand. So tip number 1 would probably be address your food world. What is your food world? What foods do you think, and we do this in the clinic in a traffic light exercises, are in inverted commas good? I don't like calling foods good or bad, or in your eyes bad. So red for items you never allow yourself because they're just, like, I don't know, deep fried donuts or something. Those items tend to go in the red category, right? Amber, the middle light, could be something you allow yourself occasionally. It could be that indulgent granola we just discussed, or it could be that you have, trying to think of something amber that comes up in the clinic a lot. Nut butters seem to come up, like peanut butter and stuff seem to come up in amber a lot because there's still a lot of phobia around adding nuts to food, especially peanuts, because they're considered very fatty and they are a fattier nut. And then green would be lots of vegetables and fruits and things that people are like, well, I obviously should eat that all the time. So try and do that exercise and then start questioning why they're in that category. And is it such a bad thing they are? Is that helpful to you? If it's not helpful, then try and move a red item to amber and introduce it into your diet occasionally. And that's something we'll work on in the clinic. So that would be my first tip. Tip number 2 to eliminate feeling guilt would be to talk out loud. And if you can't talk, write. do that feeling fact we mentioned before. You've got to get it out. If you internalize it, it's only going to create a vicious cycle and probably more unhealthy behavior patterns like over-exercising, maybe to compensate. Other compensatory factors can be overworking, over-exercising, eating too much, eating too little, turning to alcohol, hopefully not turning to drugs, smoking, you name it. We've all got our vices. Identify them and replace your vice with something else halfway through. Maybe try and treat yourself to, instead of going out for that takeaway that night, if that's what you're doing every night, start with a ready meal and then introduce a healthy fakeaway at home that you can try and cook. The final tip, so we've got speaking out loud and trying new things, traffic light list. I think for being guilt-free, it's being kind. Try and say something nice to yourself every single time you identify a feeling of guilt. So, well, I do feel guilty about last night, but actually today I'm quite proud of myself because I managed to put the dinner on for my family and do bath time and do all the million and other one things that are in your life. I don't know, you managed to finish your essay if you're at uni, or you did a proposal at work, and just be kind to yourself and acknowledge it's a long process, but you can make a start at it.
Rachel wants to know, do you think the rules start at a young age when parents say things like, eat your dinner, otherwise there's no dessert, sit at the table until you've finished, etc.?
Or if you waste that food, starving countries, could be eating that food. Yes, 100%. Food behaviors start in childhood. First of all, never discuss with your children your shape or size, or comment negatively on your appearance or their appearance in front of them. The same goes for food. Try and always discuss food in a positive social way. And now the theory is, and I think this clear your whole plate thing did originate from a time where there wasn't plenty, and we were very lucky in the war. We were rationed in the UK and different countries. It all stems from somewhere, but now we're very fortunate to have access. And if your child is full, they're full. They can always go back to it later. And rewarding with food. Oh, goodness me. I think a lot of us still, myself included, we live with that. Dessert is the treat for doing well, getting a good exam grade or doing something. You reward yourself with food. Try and use other rewards rather than food would be my top tip there.